In this Tech Talk, I'm speaking with Rocco Fucetola, VP of Sales and Marketing for BluePrint Automation, and we are going to learn all about BluePrint Automation's Spyder 100V stacking and loading solution. So first, let's just talk about the basic function of the Spyder 100V. Now, this is a stacking and loading solution for naked product like waffles and pancakes and tortillas. Is there increased demand for this type of automation, especially as we're seeing sort of the workforce, the pool start to diminish?
There is. I mean, so we see these type of lines. What we normally see are lines that run rates of like 500, 600, even up to 1,000 or more products per minute on a line. So the number of people that it would take to normally perform any of these type of tasks to stack and load the in-feed flow wrappers, it's just incredible. It really is an incredible number of people that you would normally have on a line. So the larger companies, of course, started it years ago. The larger CPGs, the larger co-packers that made product on very high volume lines. They started looking at this technology years and years ago. But to be honest with you, in today's environment, even the mid and smaller companies that are producing this type of product are recognizing the value of this automation. So it's not just something for those large guys anymore. We're seeing interest and work generated from companies that we would have never really thought that would have been able to either find an ROI or find a benefit in this type of environment or automation. So it's really worked well for large to small companies.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like just how needs are changing in bakeries of all sizes. It's sort of broadened the reach for what this technology can do. So can you kind of walk me through how the stacking and loading technology works with such high speeds? Like this is not just helping with the workforce issue, but even bakers who are already using a lot of automation, it can really take this to the next level, right?
That's right. I mean, when we first started applying these type of systems, plenty of people were still working and available, and that pool wasn't that hard to build at your company and in your workforce. So what the basic design of the system is we developed an end effector that could be mounted on a robot that could build the stack of product inside the end effector, as opposed to, say, robotically doing it one at a time. So if you can imagine, if you were running something 500 a minute and you had to build a stack of 6 pancakes or waffles, and you just did it robotically, picking one at a time, you would have a lot of that motion back and forth with the robots, building that stack one at a time, but then you would need a lot of robots because that picking motion, it takes time. What we did is we developed an end effector that allowed us to go multi-picking really fast, like pick, 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 build that stack in the head using this high flow head of volume of air flow that we use, and then make one placement wherever we're going, whether that's a conveyor that's feeding out of our system or directly into the infeed of a flow wrapper. So what we started with was hotcakes. Hotcakes are not truly flat. They're frozen, but they're not truly flat. And based on their moisture content, when they freeze, they kind of get a little dome shape to them. And so if you have a stack of 6 of these pancakes on a conveyor, even just a standard conveyor, they're going to tumble over. And that's not desirable for our customers. So we said, okay, if we're going to design something, let's design it with this principle in mind. Just touch the product and just touch it once. So we're going to pick that product, build that stack in the end effector, and make that one placement out of the system and into whatever we're feeding, whether, like I said, that's directly into the flow wrapper or into a conveyor that feeds out of our system.
So the Spyder is really a turnkey solution, isn't it?
It is. So I believe year over year, the bakery industry is close to 30 to 40% of our business in Colorado, where we build the vision guided robotic systems. For the most part, every customer wants their product to be touched in the most delicate means. Therefore, we take that extra step to demonstrate that we can handle and pick their product long before an order is ever placed. So we go that extra step to prove to them, to demonstrate to them, or even have them come to our facility to make sure that they're comfortable with our solution.
So how does it integrate with existing equipment on the line? And then after the wrapping stage, how does the Spyder work with the case packing?
Sure, we have to talk front and back of the line from the robots. We have to know if there are surges and gaps in the product flow feeding our robots. There are generally two configurations to these types of lines, depending on the product. So like for the hot cake or the pancake that's very unstable, they get loaded directly into the flight of the flow wrapper, the pocket. That's the infeed of the flow wrapper. In that situation, we have to have speed control over that flow wrapper to account for those surges and gaps in the product flow feeding the robot. So for example, if the line's running and you're running 100 flow wraps a minute, and all of a sudden you have a 5 foot gap in the line, which will happen, we have to know that in advance and make sure that we can start to slow the flow wrapper down. Or if it's a new line, a lot of times these newer flow wrappers, they can have a system where if there's no product present, they just don't make a wrap. But those are the type of things that when you're integrating that line all together, you need to know those details.
So while the Spyder started out really focusing on products like waffles and pancakes, it can be used for several different types of products now, right? Can you kind of talk about what research has gone into finding out new applications and what some of those applications are?
Sure. Like I mentioned, 30-40% of our business is bakery in Colorado. And what that means for us is we're generally touching products, like you mentioned, that aren't hotcakes and waffles, but we're touching muffins and croissants and strudels, flatbreads, pitas, pizza crusts, cupcakes, meat-filled products like corn dogs and burritos, cookies and crackers, of course. That's a very big part of our business. But for sure, there's other segments out there that you say, wow, I would have never thought we would use a vision and robotic system applied to load or pick or touch this type of product.
So if a baker wants to learn more about this system, what's the best way for them to get more information or to reach out?
Sure. So we have a pretty strong network of direct salespeople in the US and North and South America. But for sure, we have our sales at blueprintautomation.com, or you can call us directly at 804-520-5400. We will be happy to answer the call and see if we can help you. That's always the first hurdle is to make sure that what you're asking of us is something that we can do. And if so, then we'd be more than happy to work with you. You want somebody that can say no too. So if you do come to us with a solution or a requirement that is outside the scope or bandwidth of what we can do, we'll be honest and let you know.
That's really good to know. That's, I think, something that's really important to know that your supplier partner is going to be honest with you and even give you the hard answers.
That's right.
All right, Rocco. Well, this has been really interesting. I've enjoyed learning more about the Spyder system, and I thank you for your time, and I look forward to getting to see you in person.